Hi all, this is Grates. I'm joined today by Listarr and Draf, and we're going to be showing you the bosses for the Cademimu Flashpoint. As usual, I'm running as the Vanguard tank for the group.
Hey everyone, Draf here. I'm running this instance as a smuggler scoundrel, Sawbones healer.
Hi everyone, this is Listarr. I'm going to be part of the DPS the Shadow Advanced class.
And now that we've introduced you to ourselves, we're going to go ahead and let you guys watch the cinematic intro. We'll catch up on the other side.
This is Carrick Station on Emergency Response Corps Priority Frequency. Master Satil, do you read us?
Excellent. You've arrived just in time. The people of Cademimu are being held hostage by a criminal despot. Governor Chornorov was under investigation for corruption. He was about to be arrested by Republic officials when he declared his planet's independence.
What crimes was the governor being accused of?
Extortion, blackmail, and fraud are the least of his offenses. His government abused its power thoroughly. Chornorov was able to seize power because of the Republic's missile arrays stored on his world, and the criminal army he's amassed. After separatist forces were crushed on Ord Mantell, Governor Chornorov secretly offered their leaders and surviving troops asylum on Cademimu.
The governor conspired with enemies of the Republic. He signed his own death warrant.
This mission is not about revenge. We have larger concerns. The missiles produced on Cademimu are supposed to supply planetary defense batteries along the Selenon Spur, a major trade route. Those worlds now lie vulnerable. Governor Chornorov has commandeered enough Republic planetary-level weapons that a large-scale invasion is impossible. The missile arrays would destroy our capital ships in orbit.
A lone strike team could defenses. That's why we're here.
I need you to restore the planet's defenses to Republic control. That will mean defeating Governor Chornorov's elite separatist guards. A stealth-equipped assault shuttle is standing by. Your landing zone will be Cademimu's capital industrial sector, close to the missile arrays.
Is there anything more I can help you with?
There is one last detail. Governor Chornorov is merely a corrupt politician. His private army's leader, General Ortal, is a mass murderer. Ortal sent thousands of innocent Ord Mantellians to their death. If you encounter that war criminal, bring him to justice. Hurry to Cademimu before the remaining missile defenses come online and our window of opportunity closes. May the Force be with you.
And we have caught back up to you on the other side. As always, don't forget to jump into the Flashpoint. And we just went ahead and skipped the trash, so that'll be a mystery for you guys. We're at the first boss now. Right now, we are going to start tanking, and this boss has two mechanics really to it. The first one being that the boss on the right-hand side is the one you always want to be attacking. You don't want to stop attacking because he has an ability that if you stop attacking him for a certain amount of time, he will freeze you in carbonite and remove you from the battle completely. The other ability places a reticle on the guy down here, and about 75% of his health, the second boss comes alive. You really can't do anything about that. That boss will chase around one person the entire time unless he gets a hold of him. If he does manage to get a hold of him, he will go ahead and start whacking him with this big stick there, a little bit like that, and that will eventually turn that person into carbonite, so you want to stay away from him as much as possible.
A lot of HOTS will do the trick. If the person kiting the second boss gets close, that's when the healing really takes place, but other than that, it's actually a really laid-back healing fight.
As you can see there, Bones just went ahead and got himself in stone just for you guys. But it was really pretty easy to do. We do out-level this instance a little bit, so you're going to see that some fights are a little bit easier than others for us, and they will be a little bit more difficult if you're at level, but overall it's not too difficult. Did you find the DPS very difficult in this, All-Star?
No, most of the DPS that I used, since he was not aggroed onto me, I was able to use Shadow Strike because I was melee and not a ranged DPS. I'm mixing it in occasionally with some double strikes and projects.
It is important on the last boss that if you are a melee DPS, you got to get in every now and then. This boss is pretty much a tank and spank, where your tank is just going to hold aggro on the main guy, and every now and then he's going to drop adds to you. So you just pick up those adds as the tank, DPSs them down, and that's about it for this fight. It's not very difficult at all.
I do want to point out one thing, that yes, that is a Wookiee with the flamethrower.
Yeah, the Wookiee with the flamethrower is pretty epic there. How was damage when I got in melee versus when I got in ranged?
Honestly, this was another fight that healing is very, very laid back. The only time you took major damage was when the adds were not being either pulled into the boss's flamethrower or being killed quick enough.
So the boss does do damage to the adds with the flamethrower?
Correct.
So always want to make sure that you're grabbing them and putting them right there in melee. That helps get them down pretty quick for you guys.
And another thing, as far as the DPS of the adds, the DPS, especially if you're melee, can break off. If you're in the advanced class of Shadow, you have Rolling Blow, which also helps take down the health of the adds pretty quickly.
This is actually one of the choices in the Flashpoint, so we will let you watch this. And we are coming up on the last boss here. It's important to note that this boss isn't a really difficult fight either, especially for a very good group. It's really only one major mechanic to look out for as far as tanking him, is that make sure that when he starts the missile trails, and you can see the missiles there, so this is a launch bay you're fighting in. When he calls down one of them to launch, just make sure to drag him out of the quad square so that you don't get burned to a nice crisp. That light there and that trail signifies that that one's going to launch, so you want to pull him away from it into an unoccupied space. The first ones are really easy to do. It's one missile, then two, and then he does three, leaving only one unoccupied space. So it gives you a chance to learn the mechanics a little bit.
Yeah, while doing this fight, you might think that standing on that middle platform is a good idea, because you're not directly underneath the missile fire. However, as you can see, he doesn't knock back. So if you are standing in the middle, he can still knock you back into a fire.
So I just always drug him back a little bit and made sure that I had him out far enough that I wouldn't be knocked back that way. Sometimes I did have him a little bit here, and you can see me doing a backwalk. Normally I do a strafe, but it was just easy enough to pull him into position just walking backwards. So as you can see there, Listarr got knocked into the backdraft, so you want to make sure that if you DPS behind him, you're going to be far enough away from that.
Also, if you're ranging him at DPS, it's important to pay attention to where you're at and the missiles at the same time.
How did you find the melee DPS on this fight?
Other than the knockbacks and trying to pay attention to where you're at, it was actually fairly simple. Being able to position behind him was where I was able to do the most amount of damage to him.
It is important to note that as a tank, you can dodge or shield while you have your back to the enemy. So you can just turn around and run for it, so it's not important to necessarily strafe and keep him in front of you or walk backwards. I just found it easier to backpedal sometimes. Like now, I'm not in the draft at all, so I didn't find any sense to strafe or just turn around and run a lot of the time.
As a Vanguard, is there a certain range you want to stay with at the boss?
Vanguards are usually more of a melee tank, as your stock strike does the most damage per ammo cells. So the more melee you can be in with him, the better off you'll be. As far as him, though, he stays melee, so kiting him around isn't really that much of an option. He does knock you back, so it's always important to make sure that you're not facing towards one of the missiles whenever the missile actually is going off. You do see me every now and then turn my back while the missiles are going, because I have his knockbacks timed a little bit. Thank you all for watching, and please remember to subscribe and check out our other walkthrough videos.
Master Satil, this is Carrick Station reporting. What's the situation on Cademimu?
Better than we hoped, thanks to you. Governor Chornorov was captured and his separatist allies are surrendering to our forces.
We won't have to worry about further violence. That's good for everyone.
The people of that world have suffered enough, and you spared them from more. Not only did you liberate Cademimu, you thwarted an Imperial invasion. We detected an enemy fleet dropping out of hyperspace at the system's edge. When the Imperials saw we commanded Cademimu's missile defenses, they retreated. Had they captured that world, dozens of systems would have been threatened.
Are we done? Can I go now?
Enjoy your respite from the fighting. I'll be in touch. May the Force be with you.